Good morning. My name is Sada, and I'm a member of the Palestinian Youth Movement. The Palestinian Youth Movement is an independent, grassroots, transnational organization of Palestinian and Arab youth in exile, advocating for Palestinian liberation from the ongoing colonization and occupation of our homeland by the Zionist State of Israel. For over a month now, we have witnessed a genocidal onslaught on Palestinians in Gaza, backed and supported by our Canadian government. Israel has massacred over 10,000 Palestinians in 31 days, of which nearly half are children. Many Palestinians were forced to flee violent bombardment in the north of the Gaza Strip, leaving over 1 million people displaced. As we stand here today, there are thousands of Palestinians stuck beneath the rubble of buildings, while those who are rescued struggle to access medical care for their injuries as necessary resources are depleted by Israel's brutal blockade. As Palestinian Canadians, our grief of witnessing the genocide of our people before our eyes is coupled with the betrayal of the Canadian government as it aids and abets this massacre. We are subjected to watch in horror as Prime Minister Trudeau continues to arm Israel to the tune of $21 million and refuses to even utter the word ceasefire. But this horror is not new to us. As Palestinians in the diaspora, we have spent generations witnessing this brutal violence brought forward by over 75 years of Israeli colonialism, ethnic cleansing, occupation, and apartheid. Last week, on November 4th, in response to the Palestinian Youth Movement's call to action, we witnessed protests in over 30 cities across Canada, including some of the largest pro-Palestine protests in the nation's history, all united in their calls for an immediate ceasefire, an immediate end to the siege on Gaza, and an end to Canadian arms sales and support to Israel. Rather than seeing a concrete response from our government to these mass mobilizations, we are witnessing increased repression against the Palestinian movement in a clear effort to suppress and silence the voices of the people. Voices from across the nation that echo a message of liberation and refuse to stand idly by while our government arms a genocide. I was asked to join today to speak to the particular struggles facing vulnerable communities as this genocide unfolds. I wanted to take this opportunity to bring attention to the plight of a forgotten vulnerable community in Palestine, one that has been repeatedly ignored by mainstream media and the international community, the plight of Palestinian political prisoners. In the past month, Israel has been collectively punishing Palestinian people, not just in Gaza, but across occupied territories. Since October 7th, Israel has kidnapped more than 5,000 Palestinians, including over 4,000 laborers from Gaza and over 1,000 Palestinians from the West Bank. This tactic of collective punishment through mass imprisonment is not new. Prior to October 7th, Israel held hostage over 5,200 Palestinian political prisoners, including children. These individuals remain in prison today, making the total number of Palestinians held hostage by Israel over 10,000. The vast majority of those arrested are held without charge or trial under administrative detention, a practice that is prohibited under international law. Others are held indefinitely under the claim that Israel holds, quote, secret evidence against them. Israel's apartheid system also enables it to criminalize Palestinian identity, imprisoning Palestinians for actions as simple as raising a Palestinian flag. Palestinian prisoners are routinely prevented from accessing any medical care. They are starved and cut off from water and electricity. Everyone who is arrested is assaulted. Many of the prisoners' limbs, hands, and legs have been broken, and they have been subjected to humiliating torture and stripped of any dignity. Even children are subjected to psychological and physical torture in Israeli jails, causing severe long-term health impacts. In the past few weeks, 25-year-old prisoner Arafat Hamdan was killed by torture in Ofer prison just 2 days after his arrest. This came 24 hours after prisoner Omar Daragme was also tortured to death in Megiddo prison a week after he was arrested. As we stand here today, thousands of Palestinian prisoners continue to be tortured in Israeli jails. The plight of Palestinian political prisoners serves as a reminder that this violence, this brutality, this genocide extends beyond the events of the past month. It permeates every aspect of Israel's settler colonial project on Palestinian land. And while the immediate focus right now is to call for a ceasefire to stop the current carnage and genocide, we remind the world that the colonial violence that is inflicted upon Palestinians by Israel daily does not end at a ceasefire. The structural violence that allows for the imprisonment of over 10,000 Palestinians and the suffocation of 2.2 Palestinians in Gaza through a brutal blockade must be dismantled. Thank you.